They were called the Y Store, WHY. They were from Indianapolis. This was their one big hit, Lack of Water. We're talking mid-'90s. This dude had a wild voice and a wild look, and I don't know what happened, if they just kind of blew up for a hot year or whatever. But
it's like Tom Waits meets the Crash Test Dummies.
Yes. Once
there was this kid who
turned bright white. Yeah, the Y Store. All these stories about Pakistan and Jackson, Mississippi, and Deion Sanders, I mentioned yesterday, is the head coach at Jackson State University. And he's like, we can't do anything. The team can't do anything. The water situation in Jackson, where they have no drinkable water, the city has run out of bottled water to give to residents. So he put something on TikTok or Instagram or something. He's like, I got to get these kids in hotels outside Jackson. I got to get them showers. And he's like, there's no air conditioning. There's no ice. He's like, I can't have these kids running drills. And again, this is just another situation where year after year after year, in cities all around the country, whether it's Flint or Jackson, Mississippi, and the cities where this primarily happens, it won't take you too long to find out what the common thread is there. But these are cities that over and over and over again, the people in charge had no interest in updating the infrastructure. Every time something like that comes up for a vote, oh, should we update the water treatment facilities or the infrastructure or the water line? No, we'll just hope for the best. And so these aren't things that happen overnight. These are things that are, years in the making. Geraldine Watts is 86 years old. She had to drive to a grocery store to get bottled water. And obviously Jackson, Mississippi looks like the next Flint, Michigan. Mayor of Jackson is a guy named Chokwe Lumumba. Does Lumumba sound familiar?
Patrice Lumumba.
Patrice Lumumba O'Neill. That's right. Named after, and I'm sure this guy is too. Named after like a Nigerian prince or something, right? Patrice Lumumba? Not a prince, but he was like a prime minister.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, if you have seen Deion Sanders talking about and he's probably the most high-profile person in Jackson, Mississippi, by the way, but they've got the National Guard down there, and they've got FEMA, and they've got all kinds of people. But again, there's only so much they can do, because when you get to this point, it goes a little bit beyond a boil advisory. They will have to do that, but they don't even have water pressure. And they say it's for an undetermined amount of time.
Sheesh.
So the mayor's office goes, well, this will be for the next couple of days, because he doesn't want to freak people out, but they're already freaked out. So they say anything that does come out of the faucets is brown.
That's
but
so scary.
No water pressure means you can't flush your toilets. Obviously, you can't shower. So everybody down there is trying to do what they can do. But again, in every city where this happened, this is why when people, poo-poo something like a $1 trillion infrastructure bill, this is what we're talking about. These are the systems that need to be updated. It's common knowledge.
And also, it's not
cities like New York are using infrastructure from the turn of the century, the last century.
Jackson, Mississippi is not the only place. They're just the first to go through this problem, or one of the first.
Well, Flint,
Jackson, but there's going to be more places that are on the brink of this being a huge problem.
Cleveland's got this. Every major city has neighborhoods that go through this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of when these systems fail. And obviously, more extreme weather is going to exacerbate it. So anyway, it's a whole lot of fun for people who are living. I think we have one bureau chief in Jackson, Mississippi. And so I think that's Harvey is down there. And best of luck to him. I imagine he's probably not listening to the show today because he's got bigger fish to fry. But the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi says that it would take about $2 billion to fully repair and replace the system.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So that's, who knows? Now, the other side of the coin is the droughts are they're revealing some amazing things. Lake Mead is always in the news now because bodies are surfacing. You might have seen some of the coverage from China where the Yangtze River is those riverbanks are revealing
dinosaur footprints.
Dinosaur footprints, but like ancient tracts of land,
Mhm.
The Danube River in Serbia is the water levels on that are so low that Nazi warships are now surfacing.
Dude, that's wild.
More than 20 sunken Nazi warships sunk during World War II, obviously.
I would loot that so quick.
Oh, I'm sure there's all kinds of Americans that are trying to go over there to get some cool memorabilia.
Oh, not like that.
They were among hundreds that the Black Sea Fleet, they were destroyed fighting the Soviets. But that would be wild. I mean, again, on the one hand, you look at it and you go, it's simultaneously amazing and fascinating and terrifying because the reason that these things are not at the bottom of the river anymore is because the bottom of the river is getting higher and higher. So now they need to salvage these things. You just turn them into tourist attractions or something. Something to look into. Boy, people love Martin Malloy, by the way.
Oh, he's the best.
There's no reason not to.
The way he left is the funny. Am I done? And then before Alan even said, "Yeah, you're done," he was out the door, just gone, and it was.
I'm done, right? I'm gonna do that today. I'm done, right? After my sports break, I'm gonna slam that door. I'm done, right?
Just out of here. I love Marty. He's so funny.
He's always interesting, never not entertaining.
Alan, this is the reason that electric cars wouldn't work right now on a huge scale because the infrastructure can't handle it. Yeah, I think you're right, but also, and I don't know much about that, but I was hoping that this move toward electric vehicles would precipitate the updating of the grid. Because they have to. Like you always need some kind of incentive. And if there's money's always the incentive. And so if there's money to be made off of things improving, that's when things get improved by the people in charge.
I don't understand what you mean when you say the infrastructure can't handle it. What do they mean by that?
Well, the electric grids. I mean, as it is now, I assume that's what they mean. As it is now, you have places like Texas where the grids weren't made for extreme weather. Well, they were made for extreme heat. They weren't made for cold, but the last few winters, because the temperatures go so wildly in one direction or the other now, those grids, and they're not the only ones, but Texas is on their own grid. That's why it's so egregious.
So that would apply to cars now too then? So
if you have
charging
an
electric car has to be, that electricity comes from the same electrical grid that.
Okay.
So if that grid is overpowered, because
I
don't think we're to that point yet where that many people are driving EVs, but we will be. That's the plan.
But if the majority of people were driving EVs, the electrical grid could not keep up.
That's right.
I didn't understand where that was going. I'm like, I don't know too many people with electric cars, or I haven't seen enough electric cars to know what's powered. I've never even been to like an electric station, like a charging station. I've never been to one of those. So.
Yeah, I used to drive a Chevy Volt in the early days of those cars, and I would just plug it in to my house and hope it didn't get ripped off. Well, we lived in Ohio City, and it was all street parking. So every night, I can't believe nothing happened to it.
Because no one probably knew it. He was like, we don't want that.
No,
like,
but
we don't know what to do with it.
Somebody will always find out something to do. They'll steal it first and then figure it out.
You plugged it into your house.
I had to use an extension cord to the plug that goes, obviously it has its own male plug that goes into the female part of the car, the charging port. You don't just plug a regular, but that.
There's like an adapter?
The end of that was like a regular female end of a cord.
Okay.
So every night I'm parked on the street and I would run an extension cord across the sidewalk to my house, and we had an outdoor outlet near the front door, and I would plug that car in every night, and I was terrified every morning. When I was driving it for a dealership I was endorsing at the time. They wanted me to drive their cars, and I go, okay, I will, but I live in Ohio City. Just so you guys know, FYI. So when I'm parking a Corvette at 38th and Bridge, just FYI. And the Volt's great. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
I think they just started them back up.
Okay. But yeah, it was a great car. It's cool. But they've advanced so far beyond. I mean, we're talking, that was many years ago that I had that car. But, people talking about, in Greece, you can't flush toilet paper. Listen, anytime we go to Mexico, they tell you, don't flush the paper. Next to the toilets in a lot of places, there's a can. They're like, every bit of paper has to go in this can, whatever you use it for. Don't flush the paper. So American infrastructure is not that bad, obviously, but it could be at some point. Who knows? So before, Alan, you could not see those ships. Yes, that's correct. That's what I was trying to get to.
How would you handle you driving through a big state like Montana in an electric car?
Well, they have more and more charging stations. I mean, Tesla for a long time
you
was
really
like
have to trust that the car knows its mileage.
Well, a regular car knows its mileage. I mean, I drive a gas car, and it'll tell me how many miles left of gas I have.
I still think that, with gas, it still leaves margin for error, because I know a lot of people that have, drove on 0 miles.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to get that low anyway. It's bad for your car. I mean, you should, nobody should be driving with 2 miles left of gas.
0
I mean,
miles.
You're creating your own problems if that's the case. If you listen to us on iHeartRadio, you can always drop us quick messages there.
Alan, so my fiance and I were kind of picking on each other the other day, just going back and forth, and I don't remember what I said, but she said something along the lines of, I don't know, do better, and for the rest of the night, all I could think about was do better with Bill. So if you guys got one, hit me with it.
Would you possibly have one in the can? Do you have one?
I got a do better.
Oh, okay, good.
We could do better.
Do better with Bill Squire.
All right, so I'm reading this article about a lady, and she's asking, am I the a-hole? We've seen these on Reddit, and there's this lady, she bought her kids school supplies, and the way it was supposed to go down is she's supposed to buy school supplies that are generic for the class, and then they mix it up. But she goes, you know what? I'm going to buy those for the class, but my kid is particular about the stationery they like to use, so I'm going to get her own personalized stationery and labeled crayons and all this stuff, so she has her own stuff. She's not going to mix up with the kids' crayons in the class. She's going to have her own stuff, but she still bought stuff for the class, and then the teacher sends home a note and says, hey, we don't really want to do that. We want all the kids to have pretty much the same thing. And I think that is bull crap. Kids need to know when their parents are poor. They need to know that their parents aren't doing good, so those parents can do better. If your kid's putting pressure on you to do better, say, hey, I wanted to have nice stuff, but I don't.
Financial transparency.
You need that. So how are those kids going to be able to make their parents feel bad about how all their shortcomings if they don't know? So that teacher shouldn't shame that parent that is doing better. That parent should let those kids know that they need to shame their parents to do better.
Wow. Okay.
We could do better.
Follow that.
Yeah. There's a complicated one.
Do better with Bill Squire.
Okay. Hey, listen, let me give you this trip. I got all caught up here. It's a trip to Vegas for you and a pal. Just a few weeks away from our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Black Keys and Pat Benatar and a whole bunch of great bands are going to play this thing. You and a pal will fly you out, give you $1,000, put you up the whole bit. So listen closely and good luck.
Hey, it's Rover. Time for your shot at $1,000 and a VIP trip to Vegas for our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword music to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info, standard data, and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's music to 200-200. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
Is that how they do school supplies now?
It might be.
Is that what you have to do for?
No, we order a box that comes with all the school supplies that she'll need for her grade. We get an email about a month in advance, and they say, hey, they couldn't make it any easier. They go, hey, everything you need is it's like a bug out bag for your kids' school supplies. And they go, here's where you order. And I go, click, pay, and then it comes to the house. And then first day of school, she's got it.
Okay.
There might be a couple of odds and ends. The teacher will send us a list and go, hey, they also need X, Y, and Z.
And this is actually kind of a gray area thing, because really what it comes down to is education. Schools should have more funding across the board. Kids should have. We should stop skimping on child.
Teachers shouldn't have to be buying their
Teachers
own
shouldn't have to buy that.
supplies,
You shouldn't have to be
when you want
buying
them
it for the other kids in the class. It should just be taken care of. But if you want to take this lady bought her kid specialized stationery with her name on it and nice school supplies. And then she's getting shamed by the teacher, and I get that kids should, but I think if you have the means, you should be able to spend that money on your kids.
Yes.
And they shouldn't have to put their stuff into the mix, and then they do this Yankee swap thing where everybody's got the same stuff and they mix it all up, and then you choose. I don't know. It's weird that's I get buying stuff so everybody has supplies. I get that, but I think if your kid wants certain things and they get them, they shouldn't have to put it into that.
Right.
I sent you the article because I think it's got people split.
Okay.
But I don't know. I didn't even know that was a thing they were doing where everyone's buying the same stuff or generic stuff, and then they're mixing it up and redistributing it to the kids.
Well, yeah, again, every school is different. I'm just saying that you read these things about, and we've gotten calls and messages from teachers like, I have to buy this and buy that. I'm like, don't ask these teachers to buy their own supplies and then tell them, oh, and you also have to buy a Kevlar vest.
Yeah.
Oh, you also have to buy ammo.
I feel like teachers get a lot of stipends for that stuff.
They don't.
No, they don't.
That's why they're always
That's what
rightfully complaining.
I swear when I was in school, okay, this was
Every school district's different too, so there might be some where that happens in more affluent communities or whatever. But you talk about a public school, city school teacher, they're going above and beyond by going, well, there's some schools where kids come to school with no socks,
right?
So
yeah,
it runs the gamut.
When I was in school, I feel like I had a teacher. She told us that she goes to Walmart and they give her a discount because she's a teacher and all she does is show her ID badge.
Yeah, that is probably true.
Yeah,
but
they shouldn't be spending their own money.
Yeah,
on
you're
it.
still going to buy supplies.
Correct.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, what's up, Alan?
How are you, Phil?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Good. What's going on?
So you guys are talking about the school supplies and everything, and I got a quick little story for you. So I'm taking my kid I have two kids. It's my first boy. Taking him to school for the first time. We get all the Elmer's glue, Bic pens, everything name brand, right?
This is recent, Phil?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Other stuff doesn't work. They're in private school. They go to Catholic school. So long story short, we go to the first day of school, meet the teacher. Okay, everybody, in this bin goes the pencils, and this bin goes the glue. Let me tell you, there was only one set of Elmer glue, and that was me. I was the only dummy that bought all name brand stuff. Nobody told us ahead of time that they just mix it. And if a kid needs a glue stick, they just get a glue stick.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I didn't know that either. They don't do that where my kid goes to school. So this is the first I'm hearing of that.
I was kind of
Otherwise, you would have made your own glue and thrown it in there.
Yeah, you get the cheap stuff.
Yeah, Phil's glue.
I got a pretty old dog. I could have probably whipped something up.
Sure, yeah. Well, now you know for the next.
Guys,
you know for next year, Phil.
You got it.
Right.
So I'm gonna punch out. Let you guys do what you do best.
All right, thank you, pal. There's Phil, finding out the hard way how they do it now. I'm gonna break here. I'll have those 4-pack of tickets for you for Cedar Point. You can get the Cedar Point Gold Pass, only $99, but that's only through Tuesday. So if you're trying to get one of those, get over to cedarpoint.com, and I'll have that 4-pack for you after the break. If you want to text for something else, 35192. AlanCoxShow.com to watch, and we'll be back.
This is the Alan Cox Show.
Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app or whatever smart device you have. Just tell it to play the Alan